Hi there, my name's Darren Chandler. You might know me as RoboMonkey147. I've been on a huge number of sets for Rittenhouse and Upper Deck, mostly for Marvel sets. And you're listening to Marvel Card Collectors Podcast. So get out there, buy some cards, break some packs, and get trading.
Hello everybody, my name is Ian Taylor and welcome to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast, brought to you by the Marvel Cards Fan Collective, an awesome community of card collectors and creators. You can find our two groups on Facebook, details of which are at the end of this podcast, so come check us out. Normally with me is my co-pilot in all things Marvel cards. However, this week he's as absent as the Invisible Man, Sue Storm's Shadow, and the UK Parliamentary Respect. It would have been Norinrad. However, he has literally got the roof off his off his home at the moment. Rather unexpectedly, a van pulled up outside his house this morning and workmen started working on it. So he's not able to join us this week. So it's just me. It's just little old me. And I'm going to say a couple of things. And I'm going to thank our opening artist intro. I'm also going to be joined shortly for the last part of this podcast by not one but two rather awesome artists, both of them friends of the podcast, one of whom you've heard already on the podcast because he's done an opening intro for us, and the other one we've been talking to for quite a while and trying to get him on the show, but schedules have just been a bit crazy on all counts, and we haven't had the opportunity to do so. So before I dive in any further, I wanted to thank the artist intro for this episode, Mr. Darren Chandler, who is an artist actually based in the UK, although, hey, maybe you wouldn't have known it from hearing his dulcet English accent. 2 English accents for the price of 1 on this episode. Darren is a sketch card artist who I've kind of first heard about 10 years ago, really, on the Rittenhouse sets that he was working on, which include Dangerous Divas. He was on, I believe he was on Heroes and Villains. I think he was on Spider-Man Archives as well. Darren did an AP for me. I think it was one of my first ever APs. In fact, I think it was my first AP. He did that for me for Dangerous Divas, I believe, and I have it. And on all the forums and on DeviantArt, his username is RoboMonkey147. That's ROBO Monkey147, which is a really, really interesting handle. Darren, at some point you're going to have to come on and tell us exactly what that is all about. But Darren has joined the groups on Facebook, has joined MCCP, and has started to share some of his work with us. I don't think he's currently active on sets. I don't think he's on the Upper Deck roster of sets, but I know he still has a lot of blanks and APs from the Rittenhouse sets that he worked on. So anyone who wants to, please do reach out to Darren and tell him we sent you, quite frankly. I'm foolishly unprepared to actually tell you what his what his social media channels are, but he is on the group, and I'm just having a quick look on Instagram here, and I can't find him there. Let me just have a look. Oh my, this is embarrassing. I can't believe we're actually going to put this out as an episode. Who knew? Who knew? I can't actually find him on Instagram at all, so I don't think he's there. But we will be sure, Darren, to put your Facebook profile on the tasting notes for this episode, and you can go and check his work out. And yeah, Darren Chandler, who actually lives very, very, very close down the road to where I live here in the UK. So he's a local lad, as we like to say. So thank you everyone for the marvelous feedback for last week's Halloween episode. We enjoyed it probably way more than we should have done. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as well. We put an awful lot of effort into it because we wanted it to be a good episode. We wanted it to be a fun episode. We wanted to do something a little bit different to what we perhaps normally would do, and just try something different, which I thought would be quite cool. There's a few other things I wanted to talk about on this episode before we get to the interviews. So we had some great feedback from last week's episode, but as always with the Marvel Card Collectors podcast, we want to hear from you. We want to hear from you about what you want us to talk about next. There's so much that we can talk about Marvel cards. We could talk about the Rittenhouse years. We could talk about earlier than that, the 90s, the Fleer Skybox years, which, we've touched on all of these things. And we've got plans to do sketch card history number 2, where we look at the Rittenhouse years, probably with our mate Kevin number 1, Kevin St. Jack. Good evening, Kevin. And possibly a couple of other cats in the hobby that we'd like to come on and talk about those years. Now, that's obviously very sketch card focused, but we also want to talk about the Rittenhouse sets in and of themselves, because I get that not everyone listening is going to be about the sketch card. A lot of you guys collect the base cards, collect the binders, collect the promos, collect the sell sheets, etc., etc. But what do you want to hear us talk about? We'll carry on talk about the new releases. We will carry on talking about what's happening on e-packs, because for Marvel cards, that's largely where a lot of the action is at the moment, as well as obviously the bricks and mortar and physical releases. So we'll carry on talking about those. We've got ideas about what we want to talk about coming up, and we've got lots of different guests that we would like to have on. As always, we're restricted by our own schedules and life, because this is a hobby. This is something that we do in our spare time, and but we love doing it. We love doing it for you guys. So please tell us where you want to hear us go next. Anyone that you either would like to have on, or anyone that you're in contact with on the artist spectrum, or the creator spectrum, or even the collector spectrum, or even you yourself. Yes, you, if you are a collector or an artist. If you want to come on and be a guest on this podcast, then please reach out to us. If you would like to leave us a voicemail, you can do so at anchor.com/MCCP. There is a link on there that you can leave us a voicemail. It can be as short or as long as you like, and we can play it on the episode. Artists, you can also actually leave your artist intros via that means, because I know some guys have struggled a little bit. Usually tends to be the Android phone users, which is why I tried Android phones. I tried it for a good 6 months and I just couldn't get on with it. I went back to iPhones because I kind of know where I am with iPhones. So whatever you think about Apple, at least they make it easy for you to find stuff, unlike my experience with an Android phone. Anyway, this isn't phone reviews podcast. This is the Marvel Card Collectors podcast. So please do leave us a voicemail. If you're an artist, you can leave us an artist intro. Both of those you can do on that link, or you can send us an audio file. We do actually have a Gmail account now for emails as well. So if you are not on Facebook, if you are not on Twitter, and if you are not on Instagram, all three of which are at the MCC Pod, you can email us, themccpod@gmail.com. It's that simple. And you can put pen to keyboard or pen to mobile device, or even fingers to those two things, as opposed to pens. I'm mixing up my metaphors here. You can see why I normally have no one with me. It stops me rambling on incoherently. Anyway, please reach out to us, guys. We want to include as many of you as possible in this great journey that we're on. If you are listening and you are sitting in the offices of, or an employee of, Upper Deck or Rittenhouse Archives, or if you used to work for or know someone who used to work for Skybox or Fleer back in the day, we want to talk to you guys as well. Don't be shy. please reach out to us. We would love to talk to you. We would love to have you guys on, and just include as many great people who collect and work in this hobby as possible. That said, I was mooching around the internet, as one does, and I came across the Wikipedia entry for non-sports trading card. Non-sports trading card, singular, not plural. And it's quite a funky little page here. It's got sections on history, sketch card, autographs cards, memorabilia, costume and prop cards, non-sports card in media, etc. And it goes on to talk about things. It's a little bit of a thin page. I'll be honest with you, it could probably do with a little bit more writing on there to tell people about the hobby. And we thought this would be a great opportunity for any of you cats who are moved to do so, to add the Marvel Card Collectors podcast as an external link and as a reference, and possibly even drop an entry on there. I'm aware of the fact that Wikipedia is user contributed. Beyond that, I don't really know, but it occurs to me that some of you guys might be much more familiar with it. So, hey, what the heck? Let's get it out there. Let's talk about it there. If you are on Instagram or Twitter, then please do throw us a follow at one of our social channels. Same goes for the Facebook page that we've got there. And what would really, really help us out, because we never ask you for anything, is if you could leave us a review. If you could drop us a review on the Facebook page, if you could drop us an Apple Podcast or iTunes review, if you could click the star ratings button on any of these places, on Google, on Spotify, wherever you've got the opportunity to give us feedback, because we do want to get more listeners. If we get more listeners, we will be able to get some more guys into the hobby and some more people collecting, and maybe draw some people back who maybe used to collect in the 90s and didn't realize that trading cards are actually still a very, very vibrant thing, very vibrant community, that we're actually still somewhere that people can meet some great other collectors, collect some brilliant art, etc., etc. So it would be absolutely wonderful if you guys could help us out in that way. What else did I want to talk about this week? So this week I wanted to also talk about, you see, I've got a whole list of things to talk about, but I kind of want to talk about them with Norrin on board. So this is going to be a short episode because Lordy knows you don't want to listen to me waffle on for the entire duration of the episode. One thing I will say is that Pack Wars is still going, as is as is Marvel Weekly. So Pack Wars is Marvel Annual 2018-2019 is kind of the one that everyone's playing at the moment, even though Marvel Annual 2017 is also still available on the ePacks platform. I've kind of taken my foot off the gas a little bit with it, partly because of lack of funds to spend on it. I've got Christmas coming up. I've also got a holiday to the US, which reminds me, if anyone happens to be in Boston on the 22nd, 23rd of December, so will I be, although I will be with family. There's at least one comic shop I'm planning to check out that I have been to before, but if anyone knows of anywhere that stocks cards in the central Boston area, I'd be well up for popping in and taking a look. Anywho, that was a segue. I can't remember what I was talking about now. Oh yes, Pack Wars. So I'm still spending on Pack Wars, but certainly not as much as I used to. They do these weekly achievements where you can get a card simply for playing and ending up in the top 100 people in terms of wins. So when you buy a pack of Pack Wars for Marvel 2018-19, you get 5 packs within that bundle, basically. So for $4.99, you get 5 games and 5 packs. Usually the win rate when you're playing against the CPU is you'd win maybe 2 or 3 of those. You would expect to. Sometimes you win 5, sometimes you win 1. It's just the luck of the draw, and also how hard they've got the CPU setting the particular day that you play, because it does appear to have gotten more difficult since Pack Wars started. But if you can play maybe 2 bundles, get anywhere between 5 and 8 wins, and you'll get one of the 100 cards that are available for that week, running Thursday through Thursday. There's basically a top 100, and I last week was in the top 100, and I think I'd only won 8 games, and I was somewhere in the 80s, and I got the weekly achievement card. So it's worth it for that. You do get something just for taking part, I guess is what I'm saying. But the top 5 or the top 10, depending on which week it is, the top 5 or the top 10 scoring people who play in that week, Thursday through Thursday, get entered into a draw for sketches. And there is a sketch for each person who places 1 through 5 or 1 through 10, depending on which week it is. And my goodness, those guys have been playing hard. We're seeing people up in the hundreds in terms of their scoring. And if you think about the fact that you win, let's just say for the sake of argument, 50% of the time, and in one bundle costing $4.99, you get 5 games. So for $10, you get 10 games, you win 5 of those. So for every 5 that you win, you're paying $10. You then multiply by the fact that people are scoring 200, 300, 400 wins a week just to be in that top 5. And there are people who are spending an enormous amount of money, I mean hundreds of dollars, just to be in that top 5. Now, much as I love the sketches that are going up in those, you could probably buy those sketches for, they are $50 to $150 sketches, depending on what your viewpoint is, who the artist is, where they're going. And you could absolutely set yourself up with some pretty decent sketches from those artists that don't happen to be in Pack Wars. But maybe it's the exclusivity of them. I don't know. Maybe it's the competitive nature. Maybe people have just got a lot more disposable income than you would actually think they do. I don't know. I just think it's absolutely mad the amount of money people are spending on that. But people are enjoying it. So and the good thing is it's throwing up a lot of cards into the EPAC's platform. So all those digital cards that you get in every pack, the physical cards that you win, be they short print cards, be they comic covers, top 10s, patches, they're all going into that ecosystem. And that's kind of where I am at the moment. I'm about 14 SP cards away from a full set of those. I also need one more regular patch, and then I go into the short print patches. And I need a couple more golds. The golds are a limited win, and you collect 5 of those. They're a digital card, and you can exchange those 5 for a red parallel of that particular character. So you have to collect 5 of the same character in gold, and you can combine those and get a physical red parallel. And those are probably the toughest to get, unless, of course, you're spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars trying to get sketch. And I've got 3 characters so far. So I've got Thor, it's my most recent one. I've got Scarlet Witch, and I've got Carol Danvers. And I chose those because the artwork of those characters is just perhaps the nicest artwork that would go with the red background and the red border that you have with a red parallel card. And also, because the art for Marvel Annual isn't original artwork, it's pulled from comic books and other places, some of it lends itself better. And some of the arts and artists are more appealing to my eye and my taste. So those are the reasons I've gone for those artists. So I'll share those on the tasting notes for this episode, so that at least you've got something to feast your eyes on. That's kind of it. We're still waiting for Marvel Flair to drop. The expectation is that because Flair was released physically before Marvel Premiere was, it is going to drop before Marvel Premiere does on EPACs. We also know that a lot of the artists who worked on those sets for the physical release have also been sent more card stock to do a second wave of sketch cards that will be exclusively in the EPACs release, which there are some interesting views on whether that's fair to the physical only collectors that happens, which we won't go into now, but I've read that there's some interesting debate about that. Anywho, So that's kind of where we are, really. It's been a busy old year. It's been a busy year for the hobby. I think there's been a lot of product out, and we do plan to do a kind of a review wrap up of the year episode in a couple of weeks. So look out for that one, and a look ahead also to 2020 and the card sets that are coming out. So before we dive into the interviews that we've got, I just wanted to set them up a little bit. So on the before Norrin had to unfortunately leave us for this episode, we were due to speak to a friend of the podcast, Lynn Warner. And then Lynn suddenly remembered that he was at Akron Comic-Con today in Ohio. And so we were like, okay, that's cool. We can do it another time. And he's like, no. We'll do it. We'll do it in the morning. And so we set it for 10 a.m. Local time where he is, which is it's normally 5 hours difference, but because of the clocks changing, we have a funny week because the clocks change in the UK at different times to the US. So we have a week, and only a week, because the clocks do then change to from daylight savings time to whatever the regular name is for that time zone, in a week later than the UK. So there's a week where there's only 4 hour time difference from UK time to Eastern Standard Time. So I don't know why I told you all that, but anyway, I like to think that you'll learn something new about just life and the way things work, rather than just trading cards when you listen to this podcast. And I've done my duty and informed you. So back to talking about Lynn. So we said, yeah, fine, let's do it. So we hooked up, and we hooked up via Skype. So the sound quality is different. It's not probably quite as smooth as we'd normally do. The other thing to bear in mind is that at the time that we arranged, they literally just opened the doors to the con, and everyone started going in. And Lynn is right next to the door where they're letting everyone in. So that's where he's set up. So I will say in advance that there's a lot of background noise. And so we kept the interview pretty short. And also sat next to and set up right next to Lynn was an artist that that we've long admired on the Marvel Card Collectors podcast, an artist by the name of Sean Forney, Forney. And his work is equally incredible as Lynn. They're both really, really, really good artists. So we're blessed that they could both make time to have us on. Or make time to come on the podcast, not have us on their podcast. That makes no sense. Anyway, I'll keep talking. Let's just pretend that didn't happen. So we managed to hook up, and then it turns out that they couldn't hear me very well. I could hear them fine, but there's a lot of background noise. And then Sean jumped on as well. So we have a very quick chat with both of these artists. We will have both of these artists on again in more controlled circumstances, where we can actually hear them and just have a bit of a more relaxed conversation, because the last thing I wanted to do was keep them from people who'd come out to the con, who wanted to have the experience of meeting them, might have been fans of theirs, and also maybe want to support them and buy their stuff. So I appreciate you guys making time to come on. Thank you very much. Hopefully we didn't take away too much from people who were there, who wanted to also talk to you and experience your stuff. And I'm sure it's the beginning of 2 busy days at this con for you, so I'm sure that it's gone really, really well. So that's it for this part of the podcast. So for the remainder of this week's episode, you do of course have that kind of brief interview that we had with them. Next week, if all goes well, we've got something slightly different happening, which will also impact on the episode the week after, partly because of scheduling and partly because we think it'd be quite cool to do it. I'm not going to say what it is right now, because I don't want to bury the lead, and also we haven't completely finished setting it up. So I don't often get a chance to kind of be on here and just talk without Norrin. So the one thing I will say before I hand over to the interview portion of the episode is just to again just say thank you to everyone listening and to everyone in the groups. I set the first group up, Marvel Card Collectors Worldwide. I set that up about almost 18 months ago now. It was originally called Marvel Global Fans. And I didn't know that it would attract as many people as come into the group. I didn't realize that I would meet, although I say meet because I haven't physically met many. In fact, hardly any. I've not even met Norrin in the flesh before. I think it's probably fair to say I didn't realize I would make the acquaintance and make as many friends as I have. And also then, of course, Marvel Masterpieces Collectors started, which was itself absolutely, incredible, and, picked up a massive head of steam. And, we had fun with that. We really, 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 really enjoyed it. We timed the launch of it. Well, I say we, I mean, I started it and Norrin came on board shortly thereafter, and it just went from strength to strength. So thank you for everyone who's been on this crazy ride, who continues to be on the group, who continues to support the group, who continues to understand what I'm getting at with some of the rules that there are in place and some of the way that we choose to run it. We're not saying that we're better than any other group. We're just, I'm just trying to do things in as a fair and respectful way, and just a fun way for everyone. So obviously we'd love it if all you guys were in the group, who aren't in the group, who maybe listen to the podcast but choose to spend their time on other groups, or not even on Facebook. That's absolutely cool in the game. Like I said, we're all in the same hobby. It is a small hobby. It is a niche hobby. And as always, we want you to hashtag enjoy collecting. Before I go, I will pimp Sean Forney. And if any of you guys want to check him out, and hopefully he'll do an intro for us and we can give him a slightly fuller rep. But if you want to check out Sean Forney, you can check him out at seanforney.com. That's SEANFORNEY.com. He's got links on there to his socials, but on Facebook, he's Sean Forney Illustration. His Instagram escapes me at the moment, but there is a link to it on his website. Lynn, my goodness, we're always talking about Lynn, but that's because he's a wonderful man and he gets involved, and really nice guy. I just love the fact that Lynn is one of the people who listens to this podcast and has just embraced what we're doing and just wanted to be a part of it, and just hopefully we all learn from each other as we go on to say in the interview. So Lynn, as ever, thank you. You can find Lynn on Instagram at JL Warner, WARNER 72. He's also on various other social channels, but I can't remember those right off the top of my head. And we've certainly pimped them before. We'll put them on the tasting notes, of course. Without further ado, we are now going to travel to Akron, Ohio for Lynn Warner and two for the price of one, Sean Forney at the Akron Comic Con. Before we do that, the one thing I will say is I need to stop saying the word exactly when I'm nervous, when I'm on the podcast. Sometimes I hate listening back to myself, but it is what it is. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. Hopefully next week we'll have Norrin Rad back in the house. Thanks for listening as ever.
So, ladies and germs at home, we are joined on this episode by Lynn Warner, friend of the podcast, and he is coming to us live as we record from the Comic Con in where are you? Akron?
Akron, Ohio, at the Akron Comic Con.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, coming to you live 6 days ago, or whatever it's going to be.
Yeah, well, I think it's next weekend. 6 days time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that far for you to travel?
Yeah, it was about a 6-hour drive for me.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, because I'm out of the Chicago area, and so this is like, I don't know, the northeast end of the state.
Right. And is it a weekend con? Is it Saturday and Sunday, or is it Friday as well?
Yeah, it's Saturday and Sunday. Today's the first day.
Cool. So, I've literally so for everyone listening, it's noisy behind. So can I just get this out of the way? Do we call you Jay? Do we call you Lynn? Do we call you Joshua?
You know what? It's you know what? Funny story. So apparently here in the Midwest, in the States, there are like 3 different Josh Warners that are actually in the industry that are comic artists. And actually probably the more known one is Josh Warner with an E in Warner. He's what is he? Is he the editor for Source Point stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, he's the owner of Source Point Press. So so it was just one of those things where everybody kept getting confused with each other. So I decided to just go with the middle name instead. So yeah, you can call me anything you want. You smack my butt and call me Betsy if you want.
Well, save that for the not suitable for work edition of the podcast, I think. But so for everyone listening, everyone's just kind of coming into the con behind Lynn, so hence the background noise there. Works.
Yeah. It's a bunch of people actually stopped at the table next door with
She's very excited, that lady.
Yeah, and then there's the TV stations right across the aisle from us.
Wow.
Yeah.
So are you likely to be live on TV this weekend?
Well, no, it's just a camera. It's not not like they have screens.
Oh, okay. Good. So how many cons have you done this year? How many is there?
This year, honestly, I think this is like my 3rd one. I don't really. It's as you know, it's kind of hard to get out and do things when you're managing a household to some degree. The kid's just finishing this weekend. She's got a makeup game for soccer, but she's just finished up her soccer season.
Yeah.
Year. That's been a big chunk of change. As far as time spent. But yeah. Anyhow, we want to talk cards.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I obviously I know you've done Marvel Premiere, but tell me how you got started. What were your kind of first set you worked on?
It actually Premiere 17, I think, was the first set that I did.
Wow.
And it was funny. It was I actually was approached by the talent scout, so to speak, at San Diego, and he was going through my portfolio, and asked me if I was interested in doing sketch cards, and I was like, well, does it pay? And he said, yeah. I said, does it pay money? And he goes, yeah. And I said, yeah, count me in.
As simple as that.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, as long as I'm not doing somebody a favor. Yeah, go ahead, flip through. Sorry. Actually got somebody to stop by and look.
Good.
So, yeah, it was just, some original art that I was looking at, and he asked me to do it, and then he, sent me the cards out right away, and kind of that was my first set, and I didn't really know, because, I'm not really keyed in to the whole card thing, wasn't really aware of the deal, because I know that, like, certainly in the early 90s, I think it seemed like it was kind of a big thing, the trading cards.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then even through the mid 90s, but then, and even up until the early 2000s, I think it was like, especially the sketch cards really kind of took off in the early 2000s. But then it seemed to me that it kind of died off a bit as far as interest went. So I didn't even know like that stuff was still going on when I was approached, to be honest. So, but I got into it, and to be honest, it was like, I didn't, because I didn't know too much about it. I really kind of started following the group and your podcast and stuff. It's just been huge in terms of kind of teaching me more about the ins and outs of the hobby.
I have to say, we're learning an awful lot as well. I mean, there's so many facets to it, so many collectors, and so many stories as well.
Right.
Is what I love. As you've probably heard, did you hear the episode with Dave DeVries that we did a few months ago?
Yeah. No, I'm all caught up on the podcast.
Yeah. So he's it's that kind of stories that people can tell who've been in the game, for maybe a couple of years.
That was. I think it was in that one interview that I found it was like interesting that there were so many artists that were collectors themselves.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe I should probably get a little more motivated on that front just to kind of see what's going on.
So, do you have you been a comic fan? Have you been a reader and a collector of any?
Yeah, when I was as a kid, obviously I was like into it, and back in those days, you didn't have like comic shops. It was just something on a spinner rack at the local corner store.
Oh, those.
And as a kid, it was like, oh yeah, you just snag a comic, and off you went. Then I think I kind of obviously after going into high school and stuff and becoming a little more interested in girls, I dabbled a little bit in comics, but that was like right around the time of like Watchmen and Dark Knight Returns, and that really kind of sucked me back in.
Yeah.
And then after I went into the military, that's when I kind of decided that I could actually draw comics. With the big boom in the early '90s, with the independence and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of been the deal. And then ever since then, I've been kind of doing my own book and started doing cons early 2000s.
Wow. You've been going to cons for best part of 15 years then.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I've got because when I'm working on my book, and I know we're not talking about cards, but with working on my book, it's I do the whole thing by myself.
Yeah, you want to pimp your book? Go right ahead.
Oh well, no, yeah, okay, I will.
If you don't, I will.
Yeah, no, so like it generally takes me about a year to crank out an entire book because I write, draw, ink, letter, color, the whole thing all by myself, and of course that's fitting it in between over the years between changing diapers and making dinner and whatnot
Yeah.
So but yeah, it's kind of cranking along on that. I've got two books, The Adventures of Mighty Moose and then the Justice Squad, which is kind of it's a kid's book, but it's heavily influenced by like the old Hanna-Barbera like Hero Saturday morning cartoons.
Nice.
It's basically like Challenge of the Super Friends, just in comic book form with my characters.
Cool.
And, Adventures of Mighty Moose is, in a nutshell, it's Dark Knight Returns meets Zootopia.
Wonderful. I love the pictures that you sent in for the Halloween episode.
Oh yeah. That was yeah. I mean, it was like I know it wasn't really that card related, and I to be honest, I've only done, let's see, currently 4 sets, I think.
Okay.
For Upper Deck. One's not released yet. And then I did Premiere 17, Masterpieces 18, and then Premiere 19.
That's a pretty decent start.
Yeah, it was funny. I was actually having a conversation with Sean just last night. How it was just kind of funny that he's actually done way more sets than I have. But it's like he hasn't done a whole lot of like the more premium sets.
Yeah.
And it was funny at San Diego this year. I was like, okay, well, I've only done like up until that point, I had just done the 3 sets, and it's been like for 3 years basically, and 1 set per year. And I go, as I was talking to the Upper Deck guys, and I was like, you guys want to send me more work? Feel free. I'll do more cards than what I've been getting. So, and they've obliged. So
good. They're they're really the guys that we talk to at Upper Deck. We don't have a regular amount of contact with them, but they've always been, we're kind of on their radar for the groups, and I'm pretty sure we're on their radar for the podcast as well. And
yeah, well, I know that a couple of the guys are members of the group.
yeah, we've got we've got Jennifer Wu's in the group, and she's one of the main kind of talent artist coordinators there.
Right.
Simone Gonchi, when he did a live Q&A on the group a few months back, and
Right,
he said
right.
she was the one who offered him that gig for Marvel Masterpieces. And we've got a couple of the other guys as well, certainly on the customer service front, marketing guys in the group as well. But they've got a lot of work to do, so we're probably fairly low down on their list of people to include. But it's good that they connect with us when they can.
Yeah, well,
They seem like cool people.
I think they've got their hands full. They've got a lot of stokes in the fire.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, they're a small team as well.
I know that they've got a few new projects that are coming out. So they're certainly busy enough to to warrant not getting an email.
Yeah, no, I get it. Listen, if they keep putting up cards, then we'll keep putting up stuff to talk about.
Oh yeah, they're definitely cranking stuff out. So
yeah, and
from what I see from my angle, anyways.
Yeah. Are you this con that you're at today?
Yeah.
You mentioned Sean earlier, so I should probably say for the listeners who you're talking about there.
Right. So Sean Forney, he's well. Here, let him tell you. Hold on. He's coloring something right now.
Oh no, that's cool on the game. Hey, so Sean Forney, welcome to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast.
Oh, thank you.
How you doing, sitting next to Jay Lynn all this time?
Oh, good. He's keeping us entertained.
Good with his mighty moose. I love this. We've got two for the price of one. We've got two artists on the episode.
Yeah. You guys lucked out on that one.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we've been meaning to have both of you guys on for ages.
Yeah, I know our schedules were kind of conflicting and trying to get everything lined up, so this just worked in our favor.
Yeah, exactly. So you there the whole weekend along with Jay?
Yes. We'll be here Saturday and Sunday and trying to make our way through the con here.
Yeah, good. Well, I know it's only just opened, and you've probably got. It sounds like you're already drawing something for someone.
Yeah, wrapping up a Ninja Turtle Ghostbusters mashup commission here.
Nice. Well, listen, we're definitely going to pimp you guys on the podcast in terms of your social feeds and stuff. So if you've got any pictures of the work you do this weekend, feel free to throw it up there. I'm sure our listeners would love to look at it.
Awesome, that's much appreciated, guys.
Yeah, definitely. It's just me today. Norrin is indisposed, as I mentioned to Jay earlier.
Okay.
So you've only got one half of the dream team. But what we definitely want to do is at some stage, when you're not surrounded by people eager to buy your work and throw money at you, we'll have you on the podcast in slightly more controlled circumstance.
Yeah, that'd be great. Looking forward to it.
So what? I know you were at San Diego Comic-Con earlier in the year, so you clearly get about.
Yeah, we make the trek around the country throughout the year. Probably do about a dozen cons throughout the year, maybe.
Wow, well, that's decent. That's a decent amount of miles you're putting down.
Yeah.
Are you so what are you working on at the moment? Are you allowed to tell us what sets you're working on at the moment, or what you've got coming next?
I don't believe I can. I know I've got 3 sets that I'm waiting on them being released. I just got approvals on one of those, so hopefully that's forthcoming shortly. And then I've got another set, so a 4th set that I'm getting ready to start on. I don't think I'm allowed to mention. I can just say it's a tie-in to a movie title.
I have a feeling I know which one it is, but that's okay. We won't make it more complicated or difficult for anyone by saying it out loud. So we don't want any stern emails being sent to anyone.
Yeah, that would be a good idea to avoid that.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'll let you get back to your what was it? A Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Ghostbuster? You said.
Yes.
Good. Okay, I'll let you get back to that, and we'll catch up again when you're not surrounded by people.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds great. I look forward to talking with you guys.
Yeah. No, we will do. We'll arrange it when there's both of us.
Awesome.
Grand. Thank you, Sean.
Hey, thank you. I'll let you talk to Josh again some more here, and you guys
jump on
can
with Josh.
do your thing.
And then we'll let you guys get back to your con.
I couldn't hear what you guys were talking about. Sean told you all the cards that he has worked on in the past?
Yeah, we just had a quick conversation because I'm aware of the fact that he had someone throwing money at him to do some drawing. So we figured we'd let him earn his crust rather than keep him from doing that. But I was just saying to Sean that we've got 2 for the price of 1 this episode.
Yeah. And but it's like 2 halves because I'm not really getting any full attention, unfortunately.
No, that's quite all right. Listen, I'm going to let you guys get back to your con.
Okay.
And I was just saying to Sean, what we're going to do is we're going to arrange to have you guys on under more controlled circumstances.
Definitely. And then I'm all for that for sure. This is a little more hectic than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Course, I was a little less prepared than I'd hoped to be. In terms of, I actually meant to pack headphones and didn't. So.
Hey, we're always less prepared than we hope to be whenever we do this. So you're a good company.
But get a hold of me and we'll do this right sometime.
We absolutely will.
And give Norrin my best, and everybody out there.
We will do. Do you want to sign off with the enjoy collecting?
Enjoy collecting.
Thanks, Jay.
All right, later.
Have a good one. Take care. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast. You can subscribe via our home on anchor.fm/MCCP. Leave us a message via that link with questions, comments, or just to say hi, and we may even play on the show. We're also on iTunes, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms. Our podcast is at the MCC Pod on Facebook and Twitter, and you can find links on our Facebook page to the 2 groups MCCW, Marvel Card Collectors Worldwide, and MMC, Marvel Masterpieces Collectors. On Instagram, find us at MMCollectors and at SketchCardHive. The great music we use is called Rocket Power by Kevin MacLeod. Thanks to the collectors, artists and creators who support the Marvel Cards Fan Collective. We'll see you next time, and remember, it's a small hobby but a fun one. Make mine Marvel and enjoy collecting.